position 2185 for council and leave the special meetings and other meetings rates as they are. Leave everything else in the ordinance as it is, just change those two items. It's a 15% increase. So 2875 and 2185. And
I think I can live with that one.
if we get a second,
I think that's fair enough.
What was it you made the motion? Who
I
made the
made the
motion?
motion. Okay, I've got a second. Or were you seconding?
I didn't second.
No, I didn't think so.
Just said it's fair enough.
I'll second it then.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay,
Opposed? Nay.
I would like to find out what I had asked
So
earlier,
we have,
what the,
What was it?
we have a 3-2 vote.
But it passed 3-2
So the motion did pass.
okay,
Yeah, are you doing, this is an ordinance though, you would do the roll call on this one.
though. Okay.
Sorry, but yeah.
Okay. I started. Doug?
Yes. I'm in favor of it.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Same result, 3-2. 3-2. Correct?
yes.
Yeah, it passed.
I was against.
I was against.
Okay.
Just a comment, I would still like to find out what we have increased the cost of living by per year for the last 16 years.
I'll tell you what, Richard, I spent quite a few hours compiling this data and doing some research. It's in your court now, you do some research on this.
Okay,
Bring the
well,
information back to us.
all right.
That is something that some people don't necessarily take into account, that if you're gonna really do this job, there is more to the job than just coming to the meetings once a month. So, we can move on to new business and revisions to the personnel policy.
So I put in the packet sections from the personnel policy, and there's two areas that basically conflict that need to be adjusted. One of them is on page 7, section 11. It talks about employees except police who are on call are required to remain within a cell phone range of 40-mile radius of the city, and emergency response time of no more than 30 minutes. I think that needs to be 30 minutes, just flat out 30 minutes for everybody, except for the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Just as it's worded in here is what I'm trying to say. So instead of a 40-mile radius, I think 30 minutes is what we've been using as a standard response time. And then on what would be it's page 22 of the personnel policy. And you can see I whited or did in Word markup, so you can see the areas that were added or deleted. And I propose in that section that again it says all full-time police officers, public works, and KMU regular employees must reside within a 30-minute response time. The police chief and the public works director must reside within a 2-mile radius. I guess I would leave that, Scott, unless you think there's issue with that part, but, or, you know, in general, but the rest of it I think is 30 minutes is a good, you know, is a good response time, and this is consistent with what other area cities have done, and we've kind of been told by League of Minnesota Cities that we have to base our job descriptions, personnel policies, et cetera, on response times, not on actual miles, or, and you can't really legally say they have to live within the city limits. So we've been using a 30-minute response time in general terms for the last couple of years. Because part of it says 30 and the other part doesn't, so it just needs to be consistent, so. So I think it's just kind of a general housekeeping item, I don't really think there's much that needs to be discussed with it.
I do kind of question why firefighters are listed as emergency employees and police are not.
Well, all emergency city employees must respond within 5 minutes. Oh, so maybe we should add police?
It seems to me that they're as much emergency employees as the fire department.
Well, I think the reason police aren't in this specific area is because police who are on call have to be here.
Right.
It doesn't say that they have to live within a 5-minute response time. That's not the idea. The idea is if they're on call or they're working, that they're here within a 5-minute response time. Where firefighters our volunteer firefighters do need to be within a 5-minute response time, whether they live within 5 minutes or whether they work here, because we have both ends of the spectrum. You know, with firemen, you have some that work in town that live out of town, so when they're in town.
Would it make sense to add a line for the police or from the police department's on call residents?
Well, police are mentioned in the paragraph, like the second paragraph of that section. It says all full-time police officers must reside within 30 minutes. So I think that's, consistent with Public Works and the KMU employees. So I don't think we want to change that part of it. But then that other paragraph below that, unless it just says firefighters must respond within either 5 minutes of their residence or primary place of employment. And then just get rid of emergency city employees, include the following, because that is kind of
that would
confusing.
just make it more clear.
I don't know, Chief, what do you,
I believe, don't we have ours set up where full-time full-time police officers have to live within 25 minutes?
yeah, 30 minutes is what I'm saying in here. So, and that's what that's what the personnel policy says in the one section, but not the other.
Correct.
So it does say that, would say that in here, but then it talks about all emergency city employees, this is a paragraph below, I'm sorry you don't have that in front of you, must respond within 5 minutes from either their residence or primary place of employment. Well, I think that's firemen.
Well, and, of course, obvious, perhaps not, yes, I'd say obviously, a full-time police officer, that is his primary place of employment.
Right. So I think we could change that paragraph just to say firemen, or fighters, I should say, firefighters. Must respond within a 5-minute blah, blah, blah. We could clear that up and then just get rid of it.
Yeah, that would,
I think that's probably the best way to do that. I'll make that change. That's it?
Yeah, so it's simplifying it basically, because we have the definition and then the only party or
Yeah,
people that fall within are firefighters, so you
yeah,
can simplify it and just have one sentence, that's why.
okay.
this reminds me so much of what I was going through yesterday at the CMMPA board meeting, with bylaws and policies, and they changed one word, and of course there is a lawyer who is part and parcel of this process, so.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, do we need a motion to
Yeah, yes.
authorize you to proceed?
I would move we accept the revisions to the personnel policy as noted, plus the new notation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving along. So. Are you going to, try to talk us into spending a huge amount of money on a new truck?
Oh, boy. Can't print money fast enough around here.
Discuss replacement of 2000 Sterling plow truck. That is some large dollars.
There's a couple aspects of it. Just like building a fire truck, it's about a year out. By the time you order a chassis, which is about a 6-month wait time, and then once you get the chassis, then you get in line with the bodybuilder, and that's about another 5 to 6 months wait. So if we ordered it now, if we ordered it today, we wouldn't see it probably until a year from today.
So you have, just to kind of clarify, unfortunately, we didn't find an easier way to give you the quotes, but you have the quotes with about 503 different options on each one of them. The numbers that we have used I used in the memo and on the lease quote are what Wayne and I have gone over this a couple times, and these numbers are based on state contract bid. And this is what the final product should be within a few $1,000s. And, Fred has talked about this before. Sometimes when we get these things closer when they come, there may be some items added or deducted, but the final product should be within 99% of what the final number is for the lease. And basically what we're asking the council tonight is to approve ordering the truck because it's gonna take a year. We don't have to actually pay for it until it comes and until it's received next year. And we'll be coming back with a couple lease quotes, and that probably won't be till next year. But then the lease, depending on how that's structured, most likely the first payment on the vehicle under the lease won't be until 2020. So actually, I think there won't be any money, the city won't be paying out any money toward this until 2020, sometime in 2020. So if you authorize this tonight, what it does then is we have a reasonable chance of getting it before the next year's snow season. But we don't have to, we did put money in the budget for the lease payment, but in reality, it probably will not be until 2020 that it would be made. So you're not gonna be spending even next year, anything toward this in reality. And then when it gets closer, if there's deducts or additions, we'll bring those back. But basically, should be within,
Within $5,000, I would think. Plus, this doesn't show trade-in value either.
oh, it doesn't.
They projected that trade-in was $16,000.
Okay. Well, then it would be less anyway. And that lease is just for information, so you can kind of see what the annual payments would be. The final number, so maybe we'll be a little bit less than that. But just so you kind of see, based on the, on a 7-year lease at 3%, that's approximately what we'd be looking at for a payment, for annualized lease payments, which would be twice a year, those things would be made.
I came up with this truck spec, looking at MDOT's trucks and then looking at the state's vehicles and also talking with the county to see what they've been going to. A lot of them are switching to the Freightliner. It's the cheaper of the cab chassis. And then with the Chrysler body, that came highly recommended. They are a Monroe dealer, and that's what they're using for plows. So, and then, the main part is just to get the chassis ordered. I've also sit down and go through with the Chrysler salesman, we'll go through line by line to narrow that number down. But just so you see the total package, that's what it is right now. But the truck is, I sat down with the salesman and kind of went through that. The truck is pretty much, is what you're reading.
So have you looked into, say, buying a used one, 2009, 2010, something like that?
Didn't even look at using a used one. These snowplow trucks, they take a beat and they all look about the same. When they're done, they're
Knowing
done.
that new vehicles depreciate the most in the first year or two, we're paying a premium for a new one. You know, if you can save some money and get a relatively new one.
The other deal with this one is I set it up for, it's got the pre-wet system on it, it's got tanks. The county will sell us brine, and with the brine is just pretty much salt water, and it pre-wets the salt sand, so it would make de-icing a lot faster. I noticed like when the county comes through, the state comes through, their roads are wet, cleaned off, ours are still frozen over. So this also includes adding that additional brine system. There's a little bit of cost with it, but I think that result is much better.
If we were to authorize this tonight, that would get it here ready to use by next winter, by 2019.
It'd be 2019 snow season.
Okay. Because it's a little bit different here in the agenda.
And just looking at stuff that, my original bids, the state contract pricing expired. And that truck, the same exact truck that you're looking at right there with those prices, was between truck and body was $16,000 less last year.
As far as, yeah, when it's delivered, it, right, Mayor, it should be, I mean, to fully describe it, it would be the winter of 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
That's correct, but it wouldn't be this coming winter, it'd be the next, that's kind of what we're trying to.
Right, not the winter.
We're trying to
Coming.
say, yeah, so.
Wayne, is this a single axle?
Yes.
The market for pre-owned, if that's the right way to put it, is not really very good for plow trucks. You know, for other types of utility trucks like that,
Like a regular dump truck. a
yeah, but what do we just buy,
The jetter.
the jetter truck, thank you. That's a whole different deal. You know, a city had that, but that thing isn't used.
They don't
Nearly
live
as
as hard
much.
a life as a
Yeah,
plow
so that thing, you know, came from DeForest, Wisconsin, north of Madison, and it was used for, was it 10 years old or?
It's 10 years old, it's 11 years old.
So, but it's not used on a, necessarily on a daily
No,
basis,
no.
even though it's a lot bigger town.
Not the salt.
And it's a whole different thing, where these
Not
plow
used
trucks
as
get
hard.
driven a lot, they're used all the time, and, you know, they're used even during the summer, probably to haul, you know, fill or material, whatever. So
Right.
it's probably not as good of a, it's not a very common practice really for cities to buy used, you know, maybe it's really small places, but for us, you know, we'll keep the thing so long, and with state contract pricing, it just
So
makes
it's
more
not
sense.
worth looking into?
Well, we kind of did. There just isn't a lot of market for them. I mean, I've looked online, and there
So
isn't
how are we gonna sell ours for 18,000?
That was what they offered
for trade-in.
Ah, okay.
for trade-in,
Is this,
But
a-
we may sell it ourselves.
which one are you getting rid of, the red one?
the red one, yep.
So what's wrong with that thing?
From about the rear axle back, it's about rusted off.
Rear axle back?
Yeah, I just put a radiator in it so I can get through the season this year. And then we've been blowing hydraulics. Various engine issues. It's flat out rusty. The leaf springs are both there. I mean, come on down, I'll give you a tour of it.
Yeah, no, I,
I mean, in the front end, it looks great. I mean, the other part is, it's been through 2 accidents. The front end is twisted up. It's just underneath the nuts and bolts of it are,
no, I know a plow truck is a plow truck, and
you
it's,
know. The only thing, this would be a mirror image of that truck for the most part, except they did it for a rear wing instead of a front wing. That way, we could use the belly scraper, and then that would go into the wing. It'd be more like a county truck. And it is 20 years old. I mean, it's, you know, we try to get on the life cycle of moving through equipment, it's, And it's also our main sanding unit, so then we have the little pickup sander, but it's, the town depends on it, we need 100% reliability. I mean, we can plow with the loader, we can sand with the little pickup in a pinch, but for the most part, it's just as important as a fire truck or anything else. Town depends on it. When it's gotta run, it's gotta run.
Wayne, did they give you any indication? The new vehicles now all run diff.
Mm-hmm.
Big snowstorm you're cleaning up and that baby lays down on the side of the road. Are they gonna stand behind it, or is it gonna sit there and wait until they come and fix it, or what's the deal?
I think it's DEF's been out long enough. I think the big fear of that's over.
No, there's a lot of electronics that are problems with it. That's what I'm wondering, what kind of a warranty? I'm just asking out of curiosity. I'm not making a decision on that. I'm just asking.
It's in there, because the salesman looked at it. We could have had like a 5-year, 500,000 mile warranty. And I believe it's written for a 7-year warranty because we won't get 100,000 miles on this truck. I think our 20-year-old truck, I think it's got 35,000 miles on it. And it's the worst 35,000 miles you can put on something. I mean, these trucks, they should run 1 million miles. I mean, Fred, you know it from.
It's not the miles.
It's not the miles, it's the
Yeah.
hours and what it's doing.
It's the hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying about this, because a lot of them, that's where the problems are. They don't get used enough, meaning to generate the heat. I know we're getting off a little bit, but I'm wondering what they had to say about it. What are they gonna back it up? Because this can
This is coming.
put you behind for a considerable amount of time.
This would come, I believe it's in the packet, I believe it's a 7-year warranty.
7-year, 250,000 miles,
Yeah.
full coverage, 0 deductible.
Very good. That's something else we won't get with something that's used either.
No, because the first warranty was five years and 500,000 miles. And we changed to this one because we'll never see the miles.
So if we get a big snowstorm and it goes down, how long does it take them to respond and give you a new truck or whatever? Or are they gonna say, I'm sorry, there's a snowstorm, it will be next week or the week after?
That's as with anything else with equipment. I mean, if the payloader went down, I don't know how we go out in the street.
So buying something brand new doesn't make any difference.
It makes it a lot less likely to
Likely.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with
At
that.
least the repairs would be on the company's dime, not ours.
And that also.
Mhm.
I know we need it, we need a plow truck.
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking, we're trying to get things spread out here so we don't get all another 10 years down the road. We're trying to update our equipment. I'm thinking maybe 2 years ago, we got the 1 ton, last year, we got a new pickup. Maybe wait for the next pickup, maybe for a couple of years, so we don't get everything bunched together, so 5 years down the road, 7 years down the road, all of a sudden, bingo, everything falls into place.
They don't all hit EOL at the
Yeah,
same time.
I know a plow truck is probably a
But it's,
much needed item.
most of the equipment we have is, and I hate to say it, and I know you guys don't want to hear it, it's money, but it's our equipment, we haven't done any updating. I mean, yeah, we just, the lawnmowers and the 1 pickup, but like the payloader, that is 10 years old. I mean, it's a good piece of equipment yet.
The payloader, that's gonna be good for another 20 years.
Yeah. The Jenner truck, we just got that replaced, but it's 10 years old. But it's a good looking truck, and we'll get some years out of it. Our sweeper is 14 years old. Our other dump truck that's a 90, so 28 years old. And our equipment's showing its age.
But the main thing is we've been keeping it up and we've been replacing it as
Needed,
needed. And
you know.
If it's 20 years old, it's got control valves, hydraulic hoses, everything else that probably haven't been replaced in a while, I would assume. So I would say, I think it's Fred feels the same way.
I mean, we just put a new sander on it 2 years ago, because that rusted in half,
The what did?
the sander. So,
I think,
that was like $5,000 2 years ago, but, I mean, it's in the worst environment possible. The new truck, I expect it to be stainless, the box and stuff, to be stainless steel to help with the corrosion. But
salt is salt. Takes its toll.
Yeah. I suppose if you're on the East Coast, it might even be worse, but,
There you get it from the top and
exactly.
the bottom.
Well, are we reaching a consensus here to proceed?
I would move we accept the I-State Truck Center quote.
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. And the financing, we don't really have to do anything about that at this point.
No, it's just for, because we'll get another quote at least, one more quote, so, from the bank. So,
And when we get to the big one, resolution 2018-11, adopting the 2019 preliminary budget and levy. And tonight we have to set the maximum 2019 levy and preliminary budget. We can't increase it, but we can decrease it before the end of December. And what we had discussed at our budget meetings was a 6.6% increase.
maximum increase, so that can still be lower between
Correct.
now and the end of December.
And
I would make a motion that we accept the levy budget summary with the 6.66 or 6 2/3
Or 6.65.
6.67 maybe.
Well, it says
Okay.
6.66.
I don't like saying 666.
I agree.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, then the other small thing is, Scott, the truth and taxation meeting, does the council have to, by motion, have to set a date for that, or?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a date set during that
Okay.
timeframe, yeah.
So, we have to, you guys need to set a date then for the truth and taxation meeting, you know, budget review. And we would recommend doing that on Tuesday, December 4th, which is the same, basically, it'll be right after the township fire contract meeting. So it would be at, we say, Holly, 6:30? It has to be at 6:01 or later. Don't know why 6:01, but it is what it is, so. So anyway, 6:30 is what we'd recommend on December 4th. That'll be the first Tuesday of December.
Okay, well, then I would move to set that Truth and Taxation meeting on December 4th at 6:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that passes. And now we have two annual sidewalk construction licenses, and I'm going to go slightly off the reservation here because these sidewalk construction permits are perfectly logical and respected by generally all of our business people in town. We do have one business person who routinely obstructs the sidewalk in front of his business without a permit, using it as a part of his premises to work on vehicles, and doesn't seem that anything ever can get done about it, even if tickets are issued.
The tickets are not paid?
I haven't followed up on that.
I believe it was dismissed by the courts.
Pardon me?
The courts dismissed it, I believe is what happened.
And why is that?
Because they said they would remedy it or
They
whatever.
would remedy it?
Well, and.
Oh, the
owner.
Yeah. So I believe that's what happened the last.
10 times? Yeah, okay.
So do we need a motion for these
Yeah.
two? I make a motion that we pass these two obstruction licenses.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have resolution 2018-12 authorizing investments and transfer of city funds with Bank of Zumbrota. And
So, the deal with this is the city has investments in different locations, mainly because the bank in Kenyon here can only take so much of our money long-term.
Mhm.
We have a checking account with them, and then we have some CDs, but they can only take up to, I believe, maybe it's the FDIC limit. Where they
And
used
this
to,
is something that has happened
I mean, every
fairly frequently
city's
in
got
the
this.
past.
We have to chase down depositories now, and it used to be the opposite, sort of, in a matter of speaking. So my philosophy is to try to keep those within the area as much as we can. We have, besides our checking account, we have two money market accounts that we have liquid funds. One of them is through the League of Minnesota Cities called 4M, the other one is multi-bank in Michigan. We use the League one more often. But then we also have longer-term investment instruments, so we try to keep those within, you know, we have different ones spread around. We do have some brokered ones through like multi-bank, and those are placed in banks in different areas. They're all guaranteed, but they could be like the First Bank of Boston or, you know, the First National Bank of India in New York or whatever. But then we also have some that we try to keep local in the region, so that's what this one represents. And so we got a competitive CD quote from Zumbrota, from the bank there, and so we, in order to put $250,000 there, we need to set up, you know, basically set up an account. The council has to approve that, you know, setting up that through this resolution. So that's what this amounts to. So,
And if I remember correctly, KMU already does work with Bank of Zumbrota, the city and the utility being separate legal entities, so that would be done separately for the city. And I would move that we approve resolution 2018-12.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that passes. Schedule of upcoming meetings. The KMU meeting is Wednesday, September 19th at 6 p.m. Our next regular city council meeting, Tuesday, October 9th at 7 p.m. Council and staff general comments. Good.
Nothing, sir.
Just remember 9/11.
That was actually the first thing I said at the beginning of this meeting.
Yes.
I know.
Everybody's covered, whatever I wanted to say.
And I have no more comments made.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.